Luke 7, okay, verse 32. If I look at this is the red letter Bible. I've got a small Bible here that I've got the red letter writings in there to represent the writings. So look, if you look, you can see that this is Luke 7 is right there, and I want to read it out to you to see what I'm trying to say here. Luke 7 is also virtually the same Revised Standard Version. I've checked them. They normally have the same translation and same English reading. I use both. This is easy to carry. That is, if I have to carry, I don't normally carry Bible. But before, when I was reading much more extensively in the book, I carried it around, not in public places, but when a quiet time where I can, I try to read, check, especially when you are working in the UK. You're working, you have to really, focus on your work. So only at your spare time you can do these things. And it says here, Luke 32. Yes, that's a red letter writing words. That means it is something that came from Jesus Christ, according to the Bible. When you see this red letter writing, these are the true words of Jesus Christ. Okay, the true words of Jesus Christ. It's always written in the red letter. So whatever they translated is part of the little story that they've got about Jesus Christ. Those are written in red letters. So in Luke 7 verse 32, it says, they are like children sitting in the marketplace. They are like children sitting in the marketplace. That was where he was, pronouncing his judgment on Bethesda, some of the cities in Jerusalem. And then he came out and said, calling to one another. They are like children sitting in the marketplace and calling to one another, saying, we played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We mourned to you, and you did not weep. They played the flute. I think that time they played music in that sense. They were playing the music or they were playing the flute, but he did not dance. Okay, this is Jesus. The words of spiritual, inspirational words coming from Jesus. And he says, we mourned to you, and you did not weep. He's going to, a funeral and anything, and, all that kind of, and they sort of share that moment of that kind of feeling of sorrow with him, and he didn't really respond to all that, whether they were mourning to get something out of him or mourning to sort of show something. He didn't care about it. This is all that's coming out from here. We played the flute, you did not dance. Rejoice with us. We mourned to you, you did not weep. In 33 he says, for John the Baptist, in 33, for John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and you said he is a demon. Now here is Jesus now trying to talk sense into them as they doubted him, or as they were rejecting his message, or somehow they were not receiving him. He could probably if you read the book, it tells you that he's the type that could tell that if people were rejecting him or people have some hatred towards him. He could tell, he could sense that he has that ability, whether it is the spirit that inspired him that way. These are things that happened long ago, but there can be some truth to it. There can be whatever it's. At the end of the day, the storyline is what we're looking at and making sense out of what we have got that we read. Yes, so he says, let me start from 31. And the Lord said, to what then shall I liken the men of this generation, and what are they like? The generation here is the generation that he was in 2,000 years ago. I don't consider this generation to be a part of that, but let's say that is the case. Whatever it is, he was talking to a prophetic statement regarding the generation that he was in that moment, after he felt some sense of rejection or hard-headed refusal to what he has to say, and then he started pronouncing judgment on them. He has already pronounced judgment to them from the very beginning. about their rejection of John the Baptist. You know, they were looking out for some prophet, great prophet, and there he was. That was the man that he came. He used that to express that. And in 31, he's saying, to what generation do I liken you? That time also, I think John the Baptist sent some of his followers to find out who he was. So as he speaks on from 32. I mean, if you read yourself from Luke 7, you get the gist of all that. The point I need to quote is from 32 onwards. But I want to start from 31 to get a clue of what I have to say. He said, to what then shall I liken the men of this generation? And what are they like? Some comparison you have to make there. They are like children sitting in the marketplace, and calling to another, saying, we play the flute. For this is something similar that can be comparable to what is happening today. People mount stages and play songs and do all sort of wild things. Some people cry, some people do everything just for the presence of God, the presence of the Holy Spirit, the presence of some miracle, for God to show himself or do something. And it avails to nothing. And they have to come up with something to please the people, the audience. So something has to be devised. This is where the cunningness and all those things come into place. And so anything that comes up, they accept. And at such moment, the spirit and the state of man is in such a high state that anything becomes acceptable as God. This moment also, you can see that the invitations of all kinds of spirits, if God fails to come there, then the devil will come. It's either this or that. If God isn't there, then who do you think will come? The devil is always ready to come. The witches and wizards, they are always ready to come. So when it comes to that fails, then immediately the presence of the witch or wizards or whoever there sees that, you see, God is not coming. He doesn't like you people. He's somehow disappointed you people. So it's our turn. Then the chance, they were always waiting at the door. He says, evil is always waiting at the door, ready to take over, ready to do something. Evil is always ready at the door to do something. So immediately they, being among you or being among us in such an organization, in such a moment where the people are calling, and then they wait and nothing happens, and because the spirit, the witches and wizards, they have eyes. When God presence come there, they see, they'll be first to recognize. You probably don't have eyes to see that. And then they will look around and say, oh, nothing is here, no worry. These people, they don't know what they are doing. And then they take place. They move the spirit inside them, and their spirit, they begin to cast their loads of spirit they've got onto the people, and the people begin to feel all kinds of things, and they begin to feel, the Holy Spirit is here. And in reality, the witches and wizards have taken control. They start dominating. They start moving the human body. They start making people go into some state of experience that brings them into some sort of, mind, whatever, and it's easily assumed and thing to be, and whatever they are aspiring for from God, the spirits or the witches begin to make them have that. You see people speaking in all kinds of things, even though the signs may not be of the same or the signs of what is written in the book. They widely claim, to accept it and say, "Oh, this is the Spirit of God," and they have to look into the book and find anything that is similar to it to embrace it. Especially the tongue-speaking words that nobody knows what that person is speaking, or whatever you are saying, you don't even know what you are saying. You, the man who is praying to God, you don't know what you are saying to pray to God. And how logic can that be? And then you will say that the Bible will point somewhere to you, because people must realize that this Holy Spirit thing and tongues begin happen long, even at the time of Jesus, and that the things like that were going on. It was happening at that time. So it is not strange to sort of find them here. If you read this book, you will discover all these things because they were happening at that time. It has happened before us. People have lived before us. So witches